No doubt you have a lot of questions, so do we. The news of this partnership, a shock to players, media, and fans, hammered out as it was in secret by a handful of power brokers. The bombshell landed Tuesday morning, just as we were arriving at Hillcrest a few minutes down the road for a playoff to decide the final two spots in this U.S. Open. That sadly became a footnote. This story, and this has been the case for the last year, seems to swallow everything. Though I promise we will not let that be the case here. For the moment, though, it is part of the discussion as players arrive. And with more, let's go down once again to Todd.
Yeah, Rich, it was less than a week ago when we did hear the shocking news, and no group was more shocked than the players on both sides, the PGA Tour and LIV Golf. Well, the emotions have gone from boiling to simmer now. And for the PGA Tour players, many of them turning down offers from LIV, they have a lot more questions than answers, and they are receiving a lot of questions, too, from the media. As a matter of fact, the defending U.S. Open champion didn't have to wait long in his press conference, to which that topic was addressed.
Could you talk about your thoughts on the LIV PGA merger and whether or not...
Number one.
whether or not you're keeping, you and other golfers are keeping your options open legally, as far as that goes?
I'll be completely honest. I literally know as much as you. So, you know, I'm sure everyone's got 1,000,001 questions about it. I found out when everyone else found out. And, yeah, honestly, I know literally nothing. So, yeah.
I'm not really anywhere. I know the same amount of information you do. So it's very tough to make really any kind of comment or decision or anything just because I just don't have enough information. So there's still a lot of things to play out.
I found out from a couple of employees at Grove, and I thought they were BSing me. And JT happened to be on the range and far enough away where I just called him. I was on the putting green. He was hitting some balls, and just kind of a shock, just because we knew nothing about it, and it just seemed like I don't know. It was a complete shock.
Like anything in this world, sometimes, if you're trying to, you don't want things to get out. You want to announce it so you can control the narrative a little bit. I'm not saying, I'm guessing we're trying to control the narrative. But, yeah, I think when you look at it, you would like to have more details. You would like to have more of a framework. You like to have more understanding of what this deal entails. But all I understand right now is there's somewhat of a framework of a deal of what the two sides have agreed upon, but at the end of the day we still don't know how that all is going to look over the next X amount of months and years, and if it truly does hold up going forward.
Well, I think that I just don't know what's going on. I think that's I don't think anyone knows what's going on. Are we signing with the PIF? Are we not signing with the PIF? I've no idea. So, even though I guess it is confusing, it's pretty clear that nobody knows what's going on apart from about 4 people in the world. So.
Well, as for LIV Golf, of course, Phil Mickelson has been a major player for that organization. He was on the ground Saturday and Sunday playing practice rounds here at LA Country Club. Not here on Monday. Will not be here on Tuesday, instead be at his home in San Diego, but plans to return here for a final prep on Wednesday. And we asked Phil for an opinion on the announcement that came out last week about the partnership between the PIF from Saudi Arabia, the public investment firm, and LIV Golf, and the PGA Tour and the DP World Tour. He refused to give us comment, but other LIV players did give their reaction.
I guess the first reaction was, I thought it was kind of a joke that had come out. And then HE gave me a call and kind of explained what was going on. He didn't really explain too much. I think there's still a lot of stuff to be worked out, and as time goes on, we'll get to know more and more. But there's definitely a lot of curious players, I think, on both sides as to what the future is going to look like.
PGA, as I'm sure you know, has been under criticism for discouraging players from joining LIV and then merging. Did you feel any confirmation that you had made the right decision by going to LIV upon the announcement of the merger?
I think I've made the right decision anyway. I'm very happy with where I'm at. I obviously made that decision for a few different reasons, but yeah, it's too early to say, I think, with what's going to go on here. Like I said, I know as much as everyone else, and yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how the next kind of few months, maybe even year, kind of plays out.
I thought it was April Fool, and I was like, I checked my phone. I was like, well, it's not April. Obviously, I had no idea. I was in my ranch in the middle of nowhere. I was all covered in mud, and I was not even looking at my phone. And then my agent called me a couple times. I was like, there's got to be something going on because this thing's going off like crazy. And then I looked at the news, and it was everywhere. And I was like, I mean, I think we were all blindsided. I don't know what the feeling was to pinpoint it in a couple words, but it was definitely a huge surprise. Hopefully, I mean, I think it's for the better of the game, and but I have no idea what it's going to look like. Absolutely no idea. I think they have a ton of things to figure out.
If you're given the opportunity, would you want to play on the PGA Tour again?
Well, I mean, I don't know, to be totally honest. I mean, I went to LIV to play less. So if we still have our 14 events and around the world and stuff like that, I don't know if with that and the majors, I don't know if I want to play more than 18, 20 events a year. So obviously I enjoyed playing on the PGA Tour and very thankful for everything they did to me, for me. But I've been enjoying watching our kids grow and spending time with friends and family in Austin, and I guess we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Yeah, I think it's good. I think it's good for the game. Obviously, the more we can get all the best players in the world playing together, I think it's better for the game of golf. And yeah, I mean, I'm excited about it. What that entails, I'm not really sure. Just like everybody else, doesn't really know exactly what's going on. But I think it's great for the game of golf, and excited to see what comes in the future.
Yeah, as you say yourself, DJ, nobody really knows what's going on. There seems to be a lot of unanswered questions. Have you been given any assurances as a team captain that LIV is going to continue into next year?
Yeah, as far as I know, LIV will go into 2024, and they're doing the schedule now. So as far as I know, that's the plan. So, but yeah, I can't answer it really any further than that. I mean, I've talked to the guys, but yeah, as far as I know, it's going. 2024 is going to be. We'll have a full schedule just like we did this year.
That came from Yasser. That he told you that.
Yes.
Yeah.
What do you hope personally comes from this?
Like I said, I just hope we can get all the best players in the world playing at the same time at golf tournaments. I think obviously it's a little split right now, but I still think it's good. I think PGA Tour has great events, LIV has great events, and to get everybody playing together, I think would be fun and exciting.
It's an interesting bit of news from Dustin Johnson there that Yasser Al-Rumayyan, who is the governor of the Public Investment Fund for Saudi Arabia, says that LIV Golf will continue as of now in 2024. Rex Heiger, GolfChannel.com senior writer, who he and I have been talking to a lot of players and officials in regards to this. You heard me ask Sergio, would he want to come back to the PGA Tour? Dustin Johnson hinted he would like to play with the best in the world, which many are on the PGA Tour. What is the pathway back if this partnership becomes a reality?
Of all of the elements of the framework agreement that was announced last week, of all of those elements, that's the question that keeps coming back, I'm sure for you as well. Every time you talk to a player or a coach or a manager, how would they be allowed to reapply for membership, those players who join LIV Golf? I asked the commissioner, Jay Monahan, that last week, and he said there were no details at that point, and there won't be until this agreement becomes definitive, is what he told me at the time. But it's clear that there have been conversations the last few days. I spoke with a few players who said the idea right now is to create some sort of committee. Players would be on that committee as well as PGA Tour officials, and they would take this on a case-by-case basis. And basically what that would mean is if you were a player who turned down your tour membership, joined LIV Golf, did not join the antitrust lawsuit, was not overly critical of the PGA Tour and the media, your path back is probably going to be easier than someone who did.
I.e. Dustin Johnson fits into that category. But then you've got guys who were critical, who were accused by the PGA Tour of recruiting players, i.e. Phil Mickelson. It would be tougher for him, right?
I think it's absolutely be tougher. I mean, it's going to be punishing one way or the other if you look at this. And I think I have a really good example of that. I was talking with one player last week who left the DP World Tour to join LIV Golf. He had already been fined almost €500,000 by that tour under their regulations. 2 days after the announcement was made last week, Thursday, he got another letter from Keith Pelley, the CEO of the DP World Tour, with another €225,000 fine. So you get an idea. It's going to be punishing regardless, but if you were one of those players like Phil, it's going to be more difficult, clearly.
And I've talked to a couple of players and officials, too, and they're expecting some heavy fines from these players if they want to come back to the PGA Tour. And from what I understand, at least right now, that money that the players are going to pay the PGA Tour to come back into the PGA Tour will likely go to the current PGA Tour players for staying. We shall see how this all comes about. By the way, the PGA Tour Policy Board is scheduled to meet on June the 27th. That is the Tuesday of the Rocket Mortgage Classic. On the docket, approval of this framework partnership proposal that was announced last week.